Hola, ¿qué onda? Es un hecho que la mayoría de todos los pelirrojos hablan español casi perfectamente. In case you do not speak Spanish, I'll do a quick translation there. I said, hey, how you doing? It's a fact that the majority of redheads all speak Spanish nearly perfectly, which is not true at all. No, I do believe that's a lie. So while I did major in Spanish, I studied it for 8 years in a classroom, and then I moved to Guadalajara, Mexico. What I can tell you is you don't have to. You can bridge the language gap on the job site in significantly less time, and I will argue in under 15 minutes a day, over 6 weeks, and you can do that, and by doing so, you will counterintuitively hear more English. I first learned the value of using Spanish in a construction setting back in the summer of 1993. I was 15 years old, and I was working in a lumber yard at Siegel's Home and Building Centers in Elgin, Illinois. And I was part of the team in the back where trucks would come in and we would chase after them and help them pick through 247 pieces of 2x4s and help them get sheets of drywall, whatever they needed. We were there to help them load it into their vehicles. And one day I noticed there was a truck that was all by itself. There was 3 of my colleagues and none of them were helping this individual. And I said, hey, who's up? Who's helping him? And everyone kind of looked at each other and they said, well, we don't really help him because none of us speak Spanish. Well, I was armed with 1 year of freshman year high school Spanish, so I decided to go help this individual. So I walked up and I said something probably like, hola, ¿cómo estás? And he looked at me and kind of laughed and said something in Spanish that I didn't understand, and I helped him. And then he looked at me and said, hey man, I appreciate you coming over. I know all your buddies think I only speak Spanish. And I immediately found my willingness to speak a little bit of Spanish in return yielded more English. What I also found out was this customer went in and talked to the general manager and said, hey, whenever I come in, I want that redhead gringo who thinks he can speak Spanish, I want him to help me. So I found that I was being useful. I got some positive recognition from my boss. I built some trust. I had a relationship, and the organization I worked for at the time, Siegel's, made more money. In every subsequent year in school, I learned more Spanish, and every summer and winter break, I either worked at a lumber yard, I was mulling windows together, I worked at a cabinet shop, I built doors, and then I moved out to the job site as an apprentice carpenter. At every step of the way, I found my willingness to speak Spanish built stronger relationships, established more trust, and in many cases, yielded more English in return. As Spanish speakers heard me speak my Spanish, they wanted to speak more English. Fast forward to 2005, I was a project manager, and I realized that the people that were working on our job site didn't speak any Spanish and were managing lots of Spanish-speaking workers, whether it was in concrete, or drywall, or roofing, or landscaping, or paint. And continually, they came to me to be the translator. So to help my team bridge the language gap, we did what a lot of people did. We bought Rosetta Stone. And what we found was we didn't really need farm animals and fruit. We needed concrete and rebar. So then we invested in the Berlitz language training. And then we tried the Pimsleur method. We tried all the different methods to learn construction Spanish until finally I said, screw it. Our team got some beer, and every Monday evening we met in the model home, and I taught them construction Spanish. Now, our goal wasn't fluency, it was micro fluency. We wanted to get really good on the core vocabulary and key verbs that we needed to run a better job site. We wanted to make it brief, we wanted to make it fun, we wanted to bring in some pop culture, we wanted to make it easy to learn. Now, fast forward 20 some years, that's what this construction Spanish program is. It was led from my experience on the job site, being frustrated with all the big companies that you hear about and it not being tailored for what we really need on the job site. The construction Spanish course that we created includes a book. It includes a daily video. It includes a flashcard app and on-the-go audio, like small podcasts specific to construction Spanish. And we know from our clients who sell to the construction community that one of the most overlooked and underserved demographics is the Hispanic craft worker. So regardless, if you want to bridge the language gap, you can do so with our construction Spanish program. It requires 15 minutes a day. It requires 6 weeks. And if you enroll by September 1st, you can save anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% off the retail price of $269 by enrolling and getting in your training this year.